Stop with the questions. Celebrate.
And then they say, is Donald Trump an intellectual? Trust me, I'm like a smart person.
Yosemite's one of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water.
Mike Lindell's a conspiracy.
But you haven't.
Person, woman, man, camera, TV. They said nobody gets it in order. It's actually not that easy, but for me it was easy.
Amazing. He can't sit down. He's got a burning in his butthole. He's got a fire. He's got a flame coming out of his butthole.
Big, massive dumps.
Oh, I have a term for that. I call it corporate communism.
Somebody sent me a thing this morning where they're talking about putting the vaccine into salad dressing.
You see, this is a simple meme that you would find on the internet, but this meme is very real.
You ain't seen nothing yet until you see the flaming butthole.
Putting us on our knees to China.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station.
Stop with the questions. Celebrate.
The nation, Waldorf Nation. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. It's Monday. It's a brand new week. Gonna have a little fun, including my favorite story of the day. Ted Cruz goes to a baseball game. You're gonna love the reaction here. So that's fun. We also have, of course, Ted Cruz posting his own L's. I'm not kidding. That's fun. We have a Republican candidate in Arizona. Old pictures, not good pictures. I'm going to show everybody. We also have, of course, Donald Trump going after the First Amendment, as usual. We have more details about Ron DeSantis and his plan, and how he may have misappropriated some funds. Broke his own law. Ooh, lots of fun. We have, of course, an update on student loan debt relief. So, look, when I left off on Friday, so I talked about Amy Coney Barrett and how she rejected one of the challenges to student debt relief. And then right afterwards, after the show was over, oh, look, turns out there was another challenge, and there's a temporary hold on student loan debt relief. I'm going to talk about that as well. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, Biden's response to it, of course, the Republicans, a little bit of Dark Brandon going on. So should be fun. That said, before we get into the show, please like and share the stream. Very important to do so. Of course, this helps us out as always. With that said, we'll dive in. Starting with like I said, the best story of the day. Senator Ted Cruz was not given a very warm welcome in New York after he showed up to an Astros-Yankees game. In fact, I'm going to show you a picture here. This is a picture from Charles Wenzelberg of the New York Post. This is fun. Just a little bit of New York love. Feel it. Feel it. I'm sure Ted was. Now, Cruz, of course, was at Yankee Stadium to cheer on the Houston Astros and posted his own selfie there. And I'll show you that. I know. Look, people with weak stomachs, you might want to avert your eyes. Minutes from opening pitch. Notice about 3,200 likes. Okay, hey, that's more than I can get, to be fair. Then again, Ted Cruz has 5.3 million followers. So, 3,000 likes. Why don't we compare that number to the number of likes on Ted Cruz getting flipped off? 72,900 likes. Ooh. Bruh. Really? Really, bruh? But no, nothing compares to the next video that I'm going to show you, which is even more fun.
You racist piece of shit! You, man! You suck! You f***ing suck, dude! You're a disgrace! You go to hell, dude! Remember when Trump called your wife ugly? Remember that? Remember when Trump called your wife ugly and then you nominated him? You're a disgrace to this country! You disgrace! Remember when those insurrectionists wanted to murder you? Yo, go you vote! You ugly piece of shit! Go vote Trump! Get the f*** out of New York! Get out of New York! Trump called your wife ugly and you loved it!
All right, look, that last part, it gets me every time. Trump called your wife ugly and you loved it. Where's the lie? Where is the lie? Look, if anything says, we really don't like you, it would be that video right there. And also, apparently, nothing brings people together more than dunking on Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz sucks!
God bless you.
So, look, there are some comments here from different fans. One person here says, Mets fan, feeling appreciation for the pride in these Yankees fans. Mets and Yankees, apparently, look, I'm not a sports guy, but apparently they have a little bit of a rivalry, a little bit of a beef, but nonetheless, they can seem to put it aside to dunk on Ted Cruz, which is great. Gotta love people coming together for the important things. Another person replied, thanks for showing Ted Cruz exactly how we feel about him in New York City. Another Mets fan put aside their differences and said, I'm a born Mets fan, so I need you to understand the physical effort it's taking me to type this. Well done, Yankees fans. Even fans of the Astros, the team that he apparently came to cheer on. Us Astros fans and Yankees fans don't see eye to eye much, but I appreciate the hell out of this and agree wholeheartedly. Respect. Orioles fan, by the way, another person stopped by to thank the Yankees fans. Can we just sit in here for a second here and just kind of soak up how much people hate Ted Cruz? This is a man that is universally disliked. Not just, again, among fans. And look, yeah, okay, New York City, fair. But his own coworkers despise him. Absolutely. Look, in a 2016 interview, Lindsey Graham, he's like, oh yeah, you know, if you killed Ted Cruz on the floor of the Senate and the trial was in the Senate, nobody would convict you. Look, they really, really don't like him, and there is a reason for it. A lot of colleagues, you know, off the record, some on the record, basically say Ted Cruz he's a grandstander. He goes after Republicans for his own political gain. And we saw that, of course, in the 2016 primary. And not only that, but others who've worked with him, who've known him, claim that he's, quote, brilliant, but arrogant and self-serving. And let me add, smarmy. Smarmy as hell. That said, he knows how to ass kiss in probably the slimiest, most pathetic way. He said, I'm going to be tough against Donald Trump. And then what happened? Well, he got Donkey Kong. That's what happened. And it's not from Trump himself, you see. No, it's from the donors, the Mercer family, who originally had funded Ted Cruz in his presidential campaign back in 2016. They told him, you're done, son. Sit down. Heal. be our little bitch, because that's what you are. We give you all the money. We tell you exactly what to do. And we're telling you, now you're going to support Trump. I don't care that he called your father, the murderer of JFK, right? I don't care that he called your wife ugly. I don't care. You're gonna support him anyway, and you're gonna kiss his ass because we give you the money. We control you. You're our bitch, and that's exactly what Ted Cruz did. He bowed down to the Mercers. He kissed their ring. Maybe he kissed other things. I don't know, but look. He did exactly what his donors, and by the way, not just the donors, but also what the Republican fans, the voters wanted. And that's, again, because the only thing Ted Cruz knows is to suck up to power. He is slimy and pathetic, and that's why Ted Cruz deserves to be booed everywhere he goes.
Trump called your wife ugly and you loved it.
True. All right. We got another Ted Cruz story, by the way. Senator Ted Cruz is a pathetic little worm of a man. Yes, I don't say this lightly, by the way. And look, the reason is, well, okay, let's just say there's a lot of reasons. But one of them is the fact that Ted Cruz has flip-flopped on the January 6th rioters. So now that is going to come into play as he, in his own book, hosts his own L, without, I think, even realizing it. So now, that said, on January 7th, this is the day after hundreds of Trump supporters interrupted the electoral vote certification, threatened to hang my pants, and forced lawmakers into hiding, including Ted Cruz. Now, they also, oh, by the way, Josh Hawley, if you can remember, he was hauling ass to get out of there while these Trump supporters were taking a crap in the halls and assaulting police officers. So now, right after that, Ted Cruz called them terrorists. In fact, here is a video of that.
We are approaching a solemn anniversary this week, and it is an anniversary of a violent terrorist attack on the Capitol, where we saw the men and women of law enforcement demonstrate incredible courage, incredible bravery, risk their lives to defend the men and women who serve in this Capitol.
All right, so, hey, look, he actually said something true. Yes, that is a despicable act of terrorism. And look, that's not the only time he'd say that. For a little while, Ted Cruz was like, oh, that's one of the worst things in the world. I can't believe that people would do this, that they would actually attack the Capitol and possibly put my life in danger. That's the thing that Ted Cruz is mostly worried about. A lot of these Republicans were worried about the same thing. But then, he just happened to change his tune. And, later on started referring to these January 6th rioters as peaceful protesters.
On January 6th of 2021, you had tens of thousands of people peacefully protesting, and yet the corporate media and Democrats slander them with the made-up term insurrectionist.
They slandered them as insurrectionists. It's a made-up word. It's a made-up word. I mean, they were totally 100% peaceful. Really? Well, let's get to his book, where he basically admitted that during the Capitol riot, he was hiding in a supply closet.
Beta male.
No, look, okay, to be fair, I don't actually blame anybody from hiding from the mob that was threatening to hang the vice president. So I'm going to take that back, right? The beta. But still, he hides in a closet from people who then he later on calls peaceful protesters who were 100% not peaceful. Doesn't sound peaceful at all. Over 850, no, it's got to be more than that at this point. have been charged with crimes related to January 6th. So look, again, he knows they weren't peaceful. He knows they weren't protesters. He knows that they weren't just tourists. No. He was legitimately scared for his life. And again, I'm not going to discount that fear. There were plenty of people who were legitimately afraid. But what matters is what you do afterwards. And afterwards, when the danger was past, when the smoke had cleared, when the security was in the building, when they were all taken out, that's when Ted Cruz says, oh, they were just protesters. Why are you all scared of them? I don't understand. No. Now, by the way, his biggest flip-flop was after Tucker Carlson basically laid into him. And he's scared of Tucker Carlson and mainly scared of Republican voters. And I guess I'm actually not surprised at that. And I'm actually not like, look, I think there's a lot of reasons to be scared of Republican voters like that. I'm just saying, they're crazy. They're nuts. And nobody knows how nuts Republican voters are than the politicians. But anyway, okay. So, but that gets back to who Ted Cruz is. Ted Cruz is a sniveling, smarmy little coward. And again, I say that in relation to his politics. He will always bend towards power and then bend over for it because that's what he does. And there's that and there's the projection, okay? Remember, when it comes to these people, every accusation is a confession. And he's thrown a lot of accusations at the left. In fact, there's more, though. Cruz said that senators were led to a secure location where tempers were high, with several senators blaming us explicitly for the violence that was occurring. Whoa, gee, why would they be blaming you? Oh, right. It's because many Republicans were out there. Republican politicians were riling up the same crowd that went in and attacked the Capitol building. Huh. Weird. Several members of the group argued that in the face of the riot, we should, this is again from Ted Cruz, we should suspend our objections and vote to certify the election. I understood the sentiment, but I vehemently disagreed with it. I urged my colleagues that the course of action we were advocating was the right and principled one. Bro, you hid in a supply closet. I mean, you admit that you're hiding in a closet. And then you're like, well, but you know what? We were very brave in that closet. And we were saying that we were the right ones. We were the principled ones. Even though there was a crowd out there of people who agreed with us that were trying to murder everybody. Yeah, sure. But you see that, though. While also posting his L, he also admits that, yeah, in trying to steal the election for Trump, well, after, Trump's fans at his urging stormed the Capitol building, that was the right thing to do. Oh, yeah, no, voting against certification, that's totally the right thing to do. Because, again, nobody kisses more ass than Ted Cruz and just trying to kiss the ass of the voters. Then goes on talking about projection, saying that the left doesn't believe in the rule of law. They don't believe in our democratic process. Oh, really? Okay, sure.
Give me a break.
Again, this is just another example of, again, Ted Cruz being a huge, gigantic hypocrite, but also how everything he does is simply trying to amass power. That's who he is. And, yeah, he's a gross person. Speaking of gross people, we're just full of stuff today. We got all sorts. All right. An Arizona Republican candidate is facing some criticism after alleged photos of her wearing black and brown face as a costume at least two different occasions. These photos had come out. So now, a set of photos shared on Twitter earlier this week appeared to show Marianne Mendoza, a Republican candidate for the Arizona House of Representatives, in blackface and brownface, according to the Copper Courier. The two photos allegedly show Mendoza. Let me show you a picture of her here. So that's Mendoza, obviously not in blackface, who is running for a seat in Arizona's 9th legislative district, wearing blackface makeup along with an apron that reads Aunt Jemima. Again, I'm going to show you these pictures in a minute. Another photo appears to show the Republican candidate wearing brownface for a costume of historical Native American figure Pocahontas. So, with adequate warning here, because this is incredibly offensive, I will now show you these photos. And there it is. Whew. Yeah. Even down to the fake butt. Jesus. So, yeah. There it is. That's horrible. Now, we don't know who took the photos, when they were taken, or how the person who shared these photos, obtained them. We don't know. And so that's why I say alleged, right? Now, the person who shared this is an account at Tyler Here for Fun. Apparently, that doesn't seem all that much fun. Has since locked his account. I'm assuming, maybe a little bit of backlash for that. Now, the Copper Courier, which first reported on the photos, wrote that Mendoza had not responded to questions from a local news outlet. And I could probably guess why. And, you look at those pictures. Yeah, that looks like it's her. Now, here's the thing. I've never understood why grown-ass adults feel the need to wear, racist costumes. I just never understood it. And before you guys, it's a racist costume. It's just Aunt Jemima. I'm pretty sure she didn't dress up as Aunt Jemima because she's a fan of pancakes. No, it's to mock them. It's to mock black people. That's why you do blackface, to mock black people. And it's mocking black and indigenous culture. That's why it's a problem. Blackface has a long history in this country, in the United States of America, of being incredibly disrespectful towards black and brown people. It is the only reason why people in this country dress up this way. Now, her opponents, Lorena Austin and Seth Blattman, they wrote in a joint statement that the pictures are, quote, a display of violent racism. Violent something for sure. These photos are disgusting, hate-filled, and unfortunately part of a pattern for Marianne Mendoza, the statement read per the Copper Courier. This trend makes Ms. Mendoza unfit to become legislator and represent the people of LD9. If these photos are what they appear to be, Ms. Mendoza should withdraw her candidacy. So now, they mention a pattern. And what pattern is that? Well, it's a pattern of saying and doing outrageous things. In fact, we have some pretty anti-Semitic comments that she had reposted. According to the Daily Beast, Mendoza had linked to a lengthy thread from a QAnon conspiracy theorist that laid out a fevered anti-Semitic view of the world. And it's telling the Rothschilds, a famous Jewish banking family from Germany, created a plot to terrorize non-Jewish people with purported details of their scheme that included plans to make them destroy each other and rob them of their landed properties. So anybody who's not Jewish, apparently. So, great, we're going to sprinkle in some anti-Semitism here. The thread claimed that malevolent Jewish forces in the banking industry are out to enslave non-Jewish people and promote world wars. And of course, then you add in QAnon. Yes, the thread from Twitter user Warnews that she had reposted claimed that even the Titanic had been sunk as a plot to protect the Federal Reserve. That's a new one. At least I haven't heard that one. And that every president between John F. Kennedy and Donald Trump was a slave to the thrall of a global cabal, of course. The thread also promoted the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, an anti-Semitic hoax popular in Nazi Germany, and claimed that his allegations about a Jewish plot to control the world are real. The thread Mendoza shared reads this: "The protocols of the Elders of Zion is not a fabrication, and is certainly not an anti-Semitic to point out this fact. But it's not a fact, it's not real. It's just made up Looney Tunes nonsense." But if you can remember, in 2020, she was actually part of the RNC lineup. And that, sharing that thread, got her booted from the Republican National Committee from a speaking slot. You know it's got to be real bad for the Republicans to say, that's bad. Out. Now, you might be wondering why she was even there. Well, she got well known back in 2014 for being an angel mom. Now, basically, what happened is that her son was a police officer, was struck and killed by an undocumented immigrant who was drunk, who had substance abuse issues. Now, that's absolutely terrible. She went on to basically blame immigrants to try to support right-wing draconian anti-immigrant measures. And again, she fell down the QAnon conspiracy hole. Now, after she got removed, she apologized, saying this. I love this. Quote, "My apologies for not paying the attention to the intent of the whole message. That does not reflect my feelings or personal thoughts whatsoever." Okay. Well, okay. So, the whole message, huh? So, what part of the message do you agree with? I mean, again, they're a part of this, gigantic screed conspiracy theory that she had shared, where she went after Hillary Clinton and called her a satanic high priestess. Yes, a satanic high priestess that, probably eats babies, because again, that's QAnon, right? Or maybe that Obama's Washington home smells like sulfur, because,
it's the devil, okay?
No, this woman is not only Looney Tunes, but as you can see, she's also deeply racist. There's more, though. Mendoza has also posted her own tweets that push conspiracy theories involving, you guessed it, George Soros. Yeah, because of course she did. One tweet from June 2019 claimed that Soros was pushing for immigration to install a one world government. Of course. In fact, here's what her post said. "These are the violent types of people that Soros, the Rothschilds, and the United Nations have no problem using as pawns and uprooting them and bringing them to the USA to accomplish their one world government. Oh my God.
We're under attack."
I mean, that's what it is. It's Alex Jones levels of insane. Just nuts. Mendoza has also alleged that public health advice advocating for masks were using the Soros playbook during a pandemic, which we didn't know a lot about, and claimed that Fauci is paid by Soros. Again, because of course. And in September 2019, she has a unhealthy fixation with Soros, as all these people do. Mendoza called Soros a Holocaust survivor, a quote-unquote Nazi. This Nazi is still at it, and the progressives love him for it. Did she understand what a Nazi is? Does she really? I don't think she understands. She doesn't get it. She doesn't know what they are. The Nazis were right-wing, not left-wing. And no, progressives don't like Nazis at all. We hate Nazis. But anyway, she's a lunatic. And so, look, reading through her history, no surprise that you would find these kinds of horrible photos. Now, the real question is, the people of Arizona, are you going to vote for her? Are you still going to vote for her? Is this not going to be a deal breaker for you, or what? And the reason I asked this is because we're in that really frightening, moment in this country's history where kooks like this all over the country are actually getting elected and taking power. And so it's not unreasonable to ask whether or not this clearly racist, anti-Semitic piece of crap will actually be able to get into power. I mean, again, if somebody like Marjorie Greene who believes in the Jewish space lasers, you know, and QAnon, and like Lauren Boebert, who believe that, women are, what is it, the lesser vessel, then yeah, I totally believe that someone like this could get elected. And that's a scary thought. All right. Jeff, for some people, this isn't a deal breaker, but confirms their own views. Oh yeah, no, yeah, there's, two people, right? There's people that, yes, do believe that, and that is their views. And then there are those who are like, I don't really care. Not a deal breaker, doesn't affect me. I'm going to go with the fash anyway, because they go after people I don't like or something. But anyway, all right. Let's go to Trump. There's a Trump rally over the weekend, and in it, Trump talked about, handling his political opponents. Again.
So they can't find the leaker. He leaked all about Roe v. Wade. Look, this person leaked from the Supreme Court. Never happened. You know how you find? But they don't want to mention this because they think it's so terrible. You take the writer, because you're never going to find it. They're going through phone records. It's been a long time. You take the writer and or the publisher of the paper, a certain paper that you know, and you say, who is the leaker? National Security. And they say, we're not going to tell you. They say, it's okay, you're going to jail. And when this person realizes that he is going to be the bride of another prisoner very shortly, he will say, I'd very much like to tell you exactly who that leaker is. It was Bill Jones. I swear he's a leaker.
So that was at a rally in Robstown, Texas. That happened over the weekend. So, real funny. We're going to start out talking about how fucked up that was. And I talk about you're going to be the bride of somebody else, of another prisoner. Hey, prison rape, not funny. Not funny. He's making light of it, which is not a surprise, given who it is. But look, yes, sexual assault in prison is a real problem. It's not a joke. It's gross. And it's a terrible violation of people's personal, bodily autonomy. Just because you're a prisoner doesn't mean you deserve to be sexually assaulted like that. That's not justice. That's not rehabilitation. That's not restorative justice. That's just simply assault. And by the way, if you're talking about that stuff and you agree with him, look, you're giving the idea or the impression you're agreeing with the fact that you think that rape is fine. Because you don't consider prisoners to be human beings, and therefore, they shouldn't have bodily autonomy. I mean, it's disgusting. And by the way, this is something that is overlooked in prisons all over the country. And it doesn't get talked about enough. That said, the next disturbing thing that he talked about is going after the First Amendment, right? So now his whole screed was about mainly the Dobbs memo, right? And that was before the Dobbs decision had come out. There was a leak. And so we found out that the Supreme Court was likely going to overturn Roe, take away, women's reproductive rights, women, trans men, non-binary people, anybody with a uterus. That's affected by the Dobbs decision. And again, since it's happened, it's been incredibly disastrous for people all over the country. I mean, you've had situations where now doctors have to have lawyers that step in, see whether or not they can actually perform a procedure that could save a woman's life who is having a miscarriage. They have to worry But like, oh, well, is this going to be considered an abortion? And am I going to get in prison, put in prison for it? I mean, that's serious issues. There's another woman that, had to carry around a child that was, dead. Or that was going to be, dead as soon as it was born. I mean, it's disgusting. It's horrible what they're doing. But anyway, his problem with the whole thing is, oh, it's the leaker. It's the leaker. The leaker's the bad person here. Not the court that took away women's bodily autonomy. No, I'm totally in favor of that. Because women, lesser vessel, right? No. It's the leaker. It's the leaker. And by the way, the Dobbs memo, again, proved to be correct. But the other disturbing thing is about threatening journalists with prison time for reporting on that leak. What a journalist is actually supposed to do, that's your job, is to take the information, and yes, if it comes from a leak, it comes from a leak. Doesn't matter, it's your information, and it's in the public interest. And so, but when it comes to Trump, he doesn't believe in the First Amendment. He doesn't believe in free speech. He doesn't believe in journalism at all. He doesn't believe or care about the Constitution. The First Amendment guarantees that the government does not punish you for doing an act of journalism or political speech. Journalism, reporting, things that are very, very important, to our country, to having a free society. But look, it's no surprise Donald Trump is saying these things, but let's be honest. Let's go back and kind of show that, at least when it comes to cracking down on leaks and journalists, that door was opened by the Obama administration. And of course, like anything, Donald Trump ran right through that door. And it's kind of ironic because we're talking about the Espionage Act right now. And Obama had to use the Espionage Act against journalists. And now, funny enough, the Justice Department is looking at the violation of the Espionage Act as a charge against Donald Trump for stealing documents that didn't actually belong to him and then storing them improperly at Mar-a-Lago. So again, that's very ironic. And this time, that would be the correct implementation of the Espionage Act, because he took documents that were part of national security interest home with him that didn't belong to him. But now, again, to go back to criticize the Obama administration a little bit on this, remember, they broadened this to go after whistleblowers and successfully did so. Edward Snowden revealed, some of the secret spying programs on American citizens that, of course, right-wingers love to use against American citizens. Chelsea Manning. It's another thing, revealing the collateral murder video, showing what we actually did in places like Iraq, murdering civilians. Now, Obama did do the right thing at the end of his term by pardoning Chelsea Manning. Look, the administration also had went after Julian Assange. Funny enough, Donald Trump picked that up and, continued with that case against Assange during his term. Very interesting. And now, unfortunately, the Biden administration is continuing that attack against Assange, using the Espionage Act to go after whistleblowers and leakers and journalistic outlets for doing their job. Reality Winner's another good example of that. But again, this is super ironic because Donald Trump's threatening to go after people for leaking, again, information that doesn't make him look good. What's funny, though, is why would they be mad at the leaker if they actually liked the decision in Dobbs? Remember, this is what they wanted to do. They wanted to overturn Roe. They wanted to send these decisions back to the states where Republican states, red states, were already prepared to pass and had already passed draconian anti-choice measures. I thought that's what they wanted to do. I thought that's what they wanted. I thought they liked it. Well, that really, I think, depends. Donald Trump is famous for A/B testing his audience, right? And so he'll say one thing, and he'll gauge the audience reaction, and then he'll say something else, like the opposite thing, and he'll gauge the audience reaction on that, and he'll go with whatever's more popular, right? Now, in this case, the leakers, if Republicans do well in the midterms, and there's some polls that suggesting that they will, or very, very well could, well, then I'm guessing that he would probably drop this and not talk about this anymore. Because it wouldn't be like a big issue, because remember, the reason they're worried about this for the midterms is because abortion is a very important issue. So, we could end up having a lot of women come out and, vote on a pro-choice ballot for Democrats. And there you go. That could counteract Republican enthusiasm. Don't know if that's going to happen. We'll have to wait till election day to figure it out. But if, again, Republicans, if Republicans don't win, then yeah, they're going to talk about, oh, leaker, how dare you? So we'll have to see. But again, it doesn't really make sense to target the leaker, whoever leaked this information, as, the Supreme Court made the Dobbs decision anyway. But when you're a Republican, remember, you don't really have to make sense. Because it's all about, in this case, for Trump, finding and punishing your political enemies. Okay. All right. Move on. We have some more details about Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and his political stunt to send migrants to Democratic-held areas. So now, apparently, the new details involve a possible misuse of funds. Yes. So let me give you the details here. A Venezuelan migrant claiming that he had hundreds of dollars to help coordinate flights as part of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' migrant plane trip program, the Miami Herald reported on Friday. The man, who identified himself as Emmanuel, told the newspaper that Perla Huerta, the U.S. Army veteran who reportedly lured migrants onto planes for said stunt, recruited him to distribute her business cards to migrants in Texas. Huerta, who worked for the DeSantis official-linked aviation company that Florida had contracted for $1.56 million in taxpayer money, paid Emmanuel $700 for his work that included haircuts for migrants who were waiting for Martha's Vineyard flights, according to the Miami Herald. Emmanuel's business card distribution, the newspaper noted, was to gauge migrants' interest in flights to Illinois and Delaware, a plan that was later called off following news of an investigation into the DeSantis program. So, did he actually do the work? Did he actually get the money? Well, I think he did get the money, but whether or not he'd actually done the work, still, it's important to note. Emmanuel said he does not have a permit to work in the United States and turned to Huerta to see if she could help him out with a paid gig. So, look at that. Here we have America First in action. Taxpayer money going to, try to lure people into these flights to a political stunt. Great. Awesome. Hey, isn't there a law against hiring undocumented immigrants, especially if you're working for the state? Oh, right, there is. Yeah. In fact, Florida state law requires government contractors and subcontractors to register with and use the federal E-Verify system to verify the work authorization status of all newly hired employees. The law also states that subcontractors who enter into a contract with a contractor must provide contractors with an affidavit that states subcontractor does not employ, contract with, or subcontract with an unauthorized alien. Interesting. So I wonder if Ron DeSantis has talked about this law, talked about this E-Verify system. Oh, right, he has. Yeah, let me give you that statement. Back in 2018, then gubernatorial candidate Ron DeSantis called to require all employers use the E-Verify system, Assuring a legal workforce through E-Verify, he says, will be good for the rule of law, protect taxpayers. Oh, really? And place upward pressure on the wages of Floridians who work in blue-collar jobs. The Florida legislature eventually passed a measure that would lead to the law that requires public employees, not private, and private contractors use the system. So what's interesting is that you had this E-Verify system that was watered down, because it turns out, yeah, Republicans actually love it when private companies, private corporations actually go and use undocumented labor and exploit them and not hire American workers for higher wages. Interesting. So it's funny because there was an executive order that tightened the requirements, but not too much. Not too much. The law requires all public employees, such as local school districts, public universities, and state agencies, as well as private contractors, to use E-Verify run by the Department of Homeland Security. But private employers are still not mandated to use the system unless they have a contract with a public employer or they apply for taxpayer-funded incentives through the State Department of Economic Opportunity, which I'm sure all of these people that were related to this little stunt had to go through, right? We don't know, honestly. Private businesses that do not use E-Verify will be required to keep a 3-year record of the documents employees use to complete the I-9 forms, which the federal government uses to verify workers' identities and legal eligibility to work in the United States. Basically putting these private companies on the honor system. Ah, yes, the honor system. You know, because we believe corporations will be honorable and just. That said, getting back to Huerta, right? There's a pretty good chance that that money that she had paid this migrant was taxpayer money from the $12 million pot that Florida had designated to fly people from Florida to these other places, just like Greg Abbott in Texas was using his own taxpayer money to bus people out of Texas. Now, what's interesting is that Florida did not have Venezuelan migrants, so they had to go to Texas to get them, bring them back, and then fly them out of Florida, which I'm pretty sure the law says they had to have been in Florida in the first place. Again, they had paid to fly to Texas from Florida, pick them up, round them up, pick them up, because that's where all this happened, where Huerta was getting, not only getting paid, but also apparently paying migrants to help her round up other migrants. That was happening in Texas. So it seems like, I don't know, she seemed to have been breaking her own laws, or the laws of the state. Again, $12 million fund set up to deport migrants from Florida. And by the way, again, using a company that was that is owned by a gigantic Republican donor, and she was subcontracted by that company. And by the way, they also paid, they got paid way above market rate in order to fly these migrants out of Texas that she tricked to get on these planes. So if this guy, again, if Emmanuel is being honest, and if his account is true, then Huerta is breaking the law by using this money to subcontract an undocumented immigrant against Florida law. Now, did DeSantis' office know about it? I don't know for sure, but I think probably. Probably. That said, do I expect any investigation to hold any of these people accountable? No, of course not. If anybody's the fall person in this story, if there is a fall person, well, it'll be Huerta, and DeSantis and anyone else involved, or that could be involved, will get away scot-free as usual. So, nonetheless, go. Let's move on. Last story here. President Joe Biden is not happy with Republican efforts to block his student debt relief plan.
I don't want to hear it from MAGA Republicans, officials who had hundreds of thousands of dollars of debts, even millions of dollars in pandemic relief loans forgiven, who now are attacking me for helping working class and middle class Americans. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she and her husband got $180,000 in business loans forgiven from the PPP program. She said it's completely unfair for us to forgive student loans for working and middle class Americans. Representative Vern Buchanan of Florida said our plan was reckless. Guess how much he got in that program forgiven? $2,300,000. This is not a joke. Can't make this stuff up. Ted Cruz, the great senator from Texas, he said it's for slackers, quote, slackers who don't deserve relief. Who in the hell do they think they are?
Ooh, look at that. Dark Brandon. Back. Making an appearance. This was on Friday, going after Republicans for hypocrisy. Now, of course, is that going to work? Well, not on Republicans. They don't actually care about hypocrisy. But hey, maybe it'll make some people think, oh, hey, it turns out if we actually want, things like this, we might want to go and vote. Saying, well, hey, look, the other thing about this is that I do like the strength. This is something, kind of harp on Democrats a lot for, is not being strong and defending your own policies. Well, there's Joe Biden defending his policy and calling it Republicans. Now, the thing is, I have an issue with calling them MAGA Republicans. Joe, they're just Republicans. That's it. They're all MAGA Republicans. They're just Republicans. And so, I know, small thing aside, all right. It is good, though, that he's actually defending his policy because it's a good policy. And of course, talking about how Republicans did take all this paycheck protection plan money, had it all forgiven. And by the way, in a lot of cases that we've seen, these companies will go and take that money and then fire workers anyway. So it actually did nothing. Didn't save any jobs. All right, now, the same day, by the way, again, this happened on Friday, a federal appeals court put a temporary administrative hold on Biden's student loan forgiveness program. So basically keeping the government from actually canceling the loans, which was supposed to happen really soon, basically. Now, this was an emergency, as I said, administrative hold, and the court is considering a challenge to it. This is one of the many different challenges to the program, immediately launched by Republicans, because how dare we have anything even, somewhat nice? Because we can't have anything nice. This is, again, a recent challenge by 6 Republican states who had filed a lawsuit last month that had been dismissed on October 20th by a lower court judge who ruled that the plaintiffs did not have legal standing to bring the challenge. Separately, Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett on Thursday had denied an emergency bid by a group of Wisconsin taxpayers asking the court to block the program because, again, they didn't have standing. Nobody seems to have standing here. Really, really strange. See, if you're going to try to block a program on the basis that it's going to hurt you, you have to demonstrate how it's going to hurt you, and they don't have any demonstration. How is forgiving student loan debt going to hurt you? Oh, it's because I didn't get anything. I had to pay my loans. That doesn't mean you have standing. Doesn't mean you are harmed by this. It just means that you're being a salty bitch. You need to shut up. All right? There's a lot of people, by the way, who had paid off their loans, and they're perfectly happy about this. You know why? Because it's a whole thing of not wanting other people to suffer because you had in the past. As I was saying, oh, man, I can't believe, that these people, that I had to get polio, and that these people had a vaccine. No. They should have to be forced to spend time in an iron lung. No, are you insane? What's wrong with you? You shouldn't want other people to suffer. You shouldn't want to kick the ladder behind you. But again, a lot of these people, tend to want other people to suffer because they like it when other people suffer. It's a pathology. It's disgusting. So now, that said, after the ruling on Friday, the White House still encouraged borrowers to apply for relief despite the hold, so keep doing that. On Saturday, Education Secretary Miguel Cardona continued to encourage people who are eligible to apply through the online application. It takes like 5 minutes. In fact, here's what Cardona wrote in an op-ed on USA Today. Amid some Republicans trying every which way to block the Biden administration's debt relief program, the department is moving full speed ahead with preparations for the lawful implementation of our program so we can deliver relief to borrowers who need it the most. Already, 22 million people have provided the department with the necessary information. We need to review their eligibility for student debt relief. We encourage borrowers to continue to apply for debt relief. Biden administration, by the way, is also facing lawsuits from Arizona Attorney General Mark Brnovich and conservative groups such as the Job Creators Network Foundation and the Cato Institute, who seem to care so much about, students. Do they, though? Now, lawyers for the government also argue that Congress gave the Secretary of Education, Cardona, the power to discharge the debt in 2003 law known as the HEROES Act. And to be clear, yes, he does have that authority, despite the fact that not only did you have a lot of right-wingers, but you also had corporate Democrats that were saying the same thing. Oh, I don't know if Biden's got the authority. He doesn't have the authority. No, he has the authority. He can do that. He had the authority to block, to stop people from having to pay their student loans, to put a freeze on that, the interest. Yes, he also has the ability to do this. He could cancel all the loans if he wanted to. That's if he wanted to. But he does have the authority. So now, what I think Republicans are doing is they're either trying to delay this past the midterms so it doesn't give them a boost with younger voters, or more likely, I think they're trying to get Biden to give up. And the reason that I say that is because, well, Democrats kind of have a history of rolling over on some of these things when challenged by Republicans, or specifically challenged by the donors. And by the way, that said, I do think that this will go through, that we will get the student debt relief, because it's not full cancellation, for one. We're still going to have student loans. They're still going to have student loan asset-backed securities, which Wall Street is in love with. And there's still tons of student loans. Again, this is $20,000, up to $20,000 of relief that is targeted up to couples making $250,000 a year. And so, yes, the people that are hardest hit, they will have some debt relief. The average student loan debt is about $37,000. They'll still have some of that. But what's important is there will not be interest as long as you make your payments. So, hey, some of these people might actually be able to pay off their loans for once instead of continuously servicing interest. And that might actually help the student loan asset-backed securities market. Not entirely sure, but certainly it will help a lot of people pay off their loans. And yes, it will also still, since it is not full forgiveness, people will still have to work some crappy jobs to be able to pay off those loans, but they'll actually be able to, at some point, pay them off instead of having the interest. So, look, at the end of the day, Biden is going to still be able to call this a win, because it is a win. And ultimately, I don't think Republicans will be able to stop this implementation. That said, they will try, again, because they don't want us to have anything nice. At all. Okay. That's all I got. All right, so let me read some super chats here. Wozel 1967, thank you for the very kind $5. Appreciate that. Don't be sorry that it's not more. It does give me support. I really appreciate it. Gabby Mathis, thank you for the very kind $20. I hope my Arizona state people turn the state blue, please. Well, the only thing you do is you just got to get out there and vote. Thank you, Coro, for gifting 5 memberships to the YouTube channel. Appreciate that. Sign up to become a member by hitting the join button below. And by the way, it is $2. Thank you again from Gabby Mathis. on behalf of Jonathan Leiter. Appreciate that. And Jonathan. And Frog Wizard, thank you for becoming a member for 11 months. Saying, Waldorf Nation is my favorite lily pad for the best commentary of the day. Love Jeff. Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. Love you as well. You're all amazing. All right, let's go over here to Twitch with Hunger Games 1989, resubbing for Mother Tier 1 for 10 months. 10 months for Jeff Yahoo. Hope you had a good weekend and you didn't see rhinos. Nope, no rhinos. No mules. So, does not watching YouTube ads cost? Yeah, it does. That's okay though. Was I salty today? I don't think I was any saltier than usual. Honestly. You know. Okay. So that said, everybody, thank you again for staying with the show today. Appreciate that. See you all tomorrow. Have a great, great night. Love you all. And remember, change begins with you. Good night, nation. See y'all later.
Oh, man, I'm sorry. I apologize for nothing. I concede nothing. We will keep kicking your ass every single day. Sexual anarchy. Really? No.
Oh no! Who's got a hammer?
Dumps. Big, massive dumps.
Obama. It's not human intelligence!
You're kicking me out the door. You're kicking me out the door.
Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.